Yeah, and for I feel like the third time today, we're seeing Tidehunter versus Batrider. Even though you do a lot of magical damage to the Tidehunter, who cares? He's Tidehunter. He's going to build a Hood of Defiance. He's going to stand in front of his teammates. You can never actually truly lasso him because he has that Kraken Shell to purge off your stun. And then if you don't have BKB, you just get ravaged. Unfortunately, it's not as potent as, let's say, the Lena Tidehunter that we very commonly see, just because Lena Tidehunter is a beautiful combo because you can very confidently go into the late game if you do just completely farm up on that hero, play like you're a one position almost as the Lena. And Queen of Pain can't really fill that role. Queen of Pain is definitely one of the more hybrid mid laners, has a split between like pure physical and magic damage, so will not be able to play that safe lane carry from the mid lane quite as easily with the Tidehunter. But I'm assuming that's where we're probably going to see a hero that's going to be capable of hitting buildings and killing Roche in Yuma's hero, as we basically saw that exact same thing in the previous draft.
D2 Hustlers getting the Bane working for them, so a little bit more lockdown with the Bane, a hero that may run into some difficulties with the techies on the field, not the tankiest of heroes, and a couple of remote mines may very well do him in, but that's the risk that you run. D2 Hustlers want that sort of lockdown available and the harassment in the lane, so the Bane will be the call. Meanwhile, Black and Yellow coming in with the Slark as their fourth pick, getting their carry online.
Yep, and one of Yamsun's best heroes. So we're just getting to see really a bunch of all-star hero picks for everyone here. Yamsun played Slark back when it was terrible, so he's got to be excited with how good it is now. And with seeing the Bane pick, there really is no lockdown right now on the Hustler side. Of course, there is a lot of damage to throw into this Shadow Danced Slark. Even when you press that ability, you've still got spells like the Scream of Pain, like the Sonic Wave, even the Ravage is going to be a lot of burst damage that he's going to have to contend with. But if the Slark is able to hit up, it's going to be interesting because he is laning with the techies. It's not like you have Bane Slark. It's not like you're going to be getting a lot of damage out of your 5 here. Of course, I guess you're literally going to get a lot of damage out of your 5 here just because it is techies, but you're not going to have that same level of control or sustain that a lot of other 5 positions are able to provide for their heroes. So I wonder if the M-Sun is going to struggle a little bit more in this lane because of the techies than he might rather have if Jubei was on another hero. But like you said, they're very, very confident with this techies, and I've definitely seen Jubei take some games off some pretty high level teams with this hero, so you can never count him out.
Right? That threat is always going to be there. Meanwhile, final phase of the bans, D2 Hustlers, Mag, and Sand King being taken away. Black and Yellow, meanwhile, really just focusing on Yuma's hero pool. Not much else for them to do. The Faceless Void taken away first. So that is going to be the concern. Excuse me, wow. Concern for them with that Slark. If the sort of Chronosphere was dropped and the Slark stuck in it without his ult, then you're just kind of dead in the water. So Faceless Void's got to go. The Luna gets banned out as well. So Yuma still has plenty to choose from, but at least they take away some of the more maybe problematic options on the table.
Yeah, and it's very interesting for a player like Yuma to always get his Faceless Void banned out when you're playing versus him. It's just an immense amount of respect for him as an initiator, where a lot of safe laners we know can sort of do that style, but nobody really hits that point quite as nicely as Yuma, where he is a force to be reckoned with. And I think the Faceless Void would have been a fantastic answer to this Slark. He does have a few of the very strong options. I don't think he's going to necessarily want to pick the Sven here. Right now, all he needs to do for his team is be a hero that can actually provide a ton of physical damage in the Roche pit and go for those buildings, and Dusa is the fortress. I didn't think they were going to pick Dusa into Slark just because that is now a really big target for Yamsun to hit into, but you are basically saying with this hero, I'm going to outfarm you. I naturally outfarm you. If I can be 2 items ahead of you, you can't hit me, so you won't hit me. So that's where Black and Yellow, with their last pick here, they need to get some tempo maker. They need to get somebody who can actually play on top of this Medusa, because there is going to be a critical mass point in this game where this Dusa is no longer going to be a target anymore, because Black and Yellow right now do not have very good inherent damage. And okay,
Hmm.
that's an interesting way to take it, but I'm still really scared from them because now D2 Hustlers, they've got a really safe position in this draft. They win by playing for 30 minutes, where Black and Yellow, they really need to do everything here.
Now, very much want to see who takes what. Slark going to that position 1 role. Pretty much guaranteed. Yeah, Yamsun takes it. Esk picks up the Bat Rider, though, which means, I mean, we would assume Zero is going to play the Lycan as that third core, so pause 3 Lycan, but just feels like Black and Yellow are going to have to be obnoxiously aggressive with this lineup. That's really just kind of inherent. Anytime you take a Lycan, he has to be able to get in there with that shapeshift and actually make use of it. If they can't keep anybody locked down, then the Lycan's damage really just doesn't factor in, but I don't know. You've got the Pounce, you've got slows from the Pangolier, the Bat Rider with the Lasso, even Techies if he goes in with some of those Stasis Mines. So maybe they do have the means to set that up, but then you move on to the part where all 3 of your cores kind of need to farm very well throughout this game, but especially in the early stages.
Yeah, and I'm just worried because they've made their bed, they've lied in it. It's going to be Quab versus Bat Rider mid. We're going to see how far Jeans can actually push that matchup, as well as, well, Black and Yellow, will they be able to do very much versus this Nyx Assassin Tide lane? Because I feel like Devi can very simply just steal your creep waves, just completely ignore the lane, and then that lane actually gets kind of difficult for the Slark, where if you're not just hitting the Tidehunter off cooldown, you do start to lose those trades, especially when there's spells like Gush. You don't want to be using the HP pool to Dark Pact off Gush. You always want to be able to get more than one spell used on you before that's committed, but I just hope that they can spin the lanes in their favor. Then we're going to see a little bit more of a game play out for us. But if these 2 hustlers get to farm in their triangle for 30 minutes, you kind of feel like Yoma is just going to take this one all the way to the end.
Unfortunately, it kind of feels like it's playing out much like game number 1 did. We had a similar sort of scenario there. Black and Yellow had a lineup where if your heroes do what they're supposed to do and you start out ahead, then you have a game. But if they start playing from behind, it is going to be so rough for them, and it kind of feels similar here. Maybe not because of their own lineup, but compacted by what we've got on the sort of D2 Hustler side. So we will have to wait and see as that Wolf... Okay, that Wolf is going to take a straight tower shot. Just sending it across, looking for the vision. Don't really think either side's really going to go out and try to test the other right now, though, so just a wait for those runes, but Monster's skilled up the Gush. Mr. Jeans has the point up in that Shadow Strike already, so if someone gets in a little bit too close, maybe they could make a move. They're going to go for the ward first, actually, and they do manage to get it.
All the voice lines. All the voice lines.
Oh, Yumi even taking down a wolf. All right. 21 gold. I mean, realistically speaking, it doesn't matter, but it's all about the mind games, AT. It's about getting into your opponent's head, killing off that wolf. That's the real benefit there. No benefit on the runes though. 2-2, even split. So after all that sort of dancing around, no real shenanigans coming into play, and we will settle down into the laning stage itself as Jubei sticks around long enough to go for the D ward.
Yeah, and it looks like sort of disappointing me. Not disappointing, but playing to the expectations. We're not actually going to see the Slark laning with the techies. That would probably be really unfortunate. So we will see the Pango battling up versus the Nyx Assassin as much as he can. And Zero, just hopefully he can get something out of this lane. Lycan is very good at getting last hits. You do a lot of damage, as well as Jubei here to secure a lot of those last hits, but you really don't want to be forced to lane versus the Medusa for very long. Once you get that third point in Snake, then you're just asking to get hit up as that Lycan, and Yoma's taking a little bit of damage here, but this is all just going to be space for Yuma over and over again.
If you can just really sit here, dance in front of Jubei and Zero, force them to pay attention to him instead of going after the Dusa, then Yuma's just going to win the lane. So if you're black and yellow, it's really not as simple. You can't just say, oh, ignore Yodomi, just go in for Yuma. You really can't afford to just do that, and it's not as simple as just doing it because you said it. As Jubei gonna kill himself there, gets the free deny, so he'll take a trip back to the base. Not sure if he's gonna be able to grab anything for Zero right now. He's not quite close enough to that helm. So, yeah, looks like he's just TPing himself back. That's a bit unfortunate. If Zero had maybe 1 or 2 extra last hits, then that helm could have been brought out to him. But either way, really, he's just here to get what he can get. As you mentioned, he doesn't want to sort of stay in this lane for very long up against the Medusa, but you don't really have much of an alternative all of 2 minutes in. So get what you can, don't die, use Jubei to be as annoying as possible, and then we'll see where he rotates to after that. As Jubei making his way back down, hasn't hit level 2 though, so it's still just the blast off to work with for him.
Yeah, and that does just mean that Yuma's going to have a lot of farm, whereas Zero is going to be looking for that HUD, and it's just not going to feel very, very nice. Of course, Itekis is very efficient when it comes to these trades. I wonder if Jubei is going to do what he usually does, where he tries to stack up the large camp as much as he can and then immediately puts down 3 mines. I think that's what he is looking for right now, but unfortunately, Slark is not a nation taker, so there is not going to be that added benefit for sitting your 4 in the triangle like this. It's just more pressure going to be put onto Zero for really not that much benefit.
Oh, stacking it up as best as he can. Gets the Trank Boots delivered out to him too. Does he actually get the double? Yes, he does. Okay. Very nice. Double pull out there. Bounty Rune spawned up for him as well if he wants to grab that. Although at this point, maybe you hold off on that so that S can refill the bottle, because this is the life that the Batrider does not want to live right now. He is just getting smacked around over and over again. 2 points up in the Shadow Strike from Mr. Jeans, and yeah, there it is. Right on cue, he throws it out. This isn't fun for the Bat. He's got to sort of get through it, but it's just so rough.
Yeah, really the only way that he can get back in this lane is if Mr. Jeans makes a horrible mistake, but even... Look,
Can you don't actually get this?
I don't think he will, but it's just the aggression coming out, and Mr. Jeans...
Oh, no. They spotted him. Shadow Strike. Actually, I don't think he has... Doesn't have the mana for it, and got silenced up by Jubei, but Jubei... Good attempt, let's say that, but he goes down. Esk dies as well, and Mr. Jeans picks up the double. But if you're the techies, that's the only move I think you really had available at that moment. Okay. The enemy just dies to the tower.
Yeah, didn't wait out the suicide timer, just a little unfortunate there, but it still does not help the fact that this is not a lane for Esk. This is why I was so hesitant to say that this Batrider was going to end up going into his hands, but they are just deciding to play out this matchup, and I can't imagine that Esk is very happy right now, especially with Jubei farming his small camp from him. He doesn't even have boots yet on Esk. This is just not fun right now.
Just... I don't know. I mean, you got to think somewhere in Esk's mind. You know, he's sitting there. It's like, we lose game 1. Bit of a rough game. Now you guys put me on a Batrider laning against the Queen of Pain. Like, is this a punishment? Did I do something wrong? But it's just sort of getting outdrafted.
Takes the XP for it. Esk is still level... Blocks his large camp on the way out.
Alright, the definitive answer now, if you're Esk, yes, you are being punished. I don't know what you did to deserve this, but apparently you did something, because this is just cruel. Mr. Jeans isn't going to let him have really anything, and... Oh. Okay, Jubei's able to get some last hits, at least. Silence goes down onto Mr. Jeans, but they really just can't make a whole lot happen against that Queen of Pain, and now up top, Yamsun laning alone against Monster and Divine Llama. They're not really going to be able to get in onto him, but they can at least try to slow him down, while Yodomi... Where are you going right now? He is not a very fast Bane, doesn't have those early boots like we saw on the Banes previously, but still trying to make a break for it. Yuma's kind of coming over. Is it going to be enough, though? No. Yodomi will still fall. Yuma's here, but at this point, there's really not a lot he can do with this. So, Black and Yellow get the kill, tying it up at 2-2, but just feels like Boris and Jubei both having to sort of rotate over for that kill. You don't really put a lot of pressure onto the Medusa, and with those supports gone, the cores on the other sections of the map for D2 Hustlers know that there's nothing coming their way anytime soon.
Yeah, and I think letting the lane get a little bit out of control, that does mean that Yuma's going to be unable to hit creeps for at least the time being, but they've had to make this rotation because Boris just has nothing else to do right now. He had to give up the lane so that Yamsun can get his level 6 in a reasonable amount of time, but Monster was able to get the Helmet Iron Will up, so once you have armor versus that Slark, the trades don't really matter, and that's just a straight up solo kill, I think. Maybe Divine
Uh,
actually hit him with the impale.
yes, he
Something like
did.
that happened, but still, it's very unfortunate because Mr. Jeans is just committing nothing and getting pretty much everything 33 and 20 to S 18 and 1. It's as bad as it sounds. It's
Hmm.
a big reason why we don't see this, but here we have it.
3-0 for the Queen of Pain. Hasn't really had to leave the middle lane for any of those kills. Meanwhile, all 3 cores on D2 Hustlers at the top of the last hit chart. And subsequently, okay, not quite at the top of the net worth. Zero sort of slips in there above Yuma, but all 3 of your cores in the top 4 is certainly a solid position. And now this is where things get a little bit more interesting. You see Yodomi hanging out bot, looking to get that level 6 because Yuma just taken to farming up the jungle. He no longer needs that lane. That's going to free up more space for D2 Hustlers to work with, and Yuma may be farming in the jungle, but the rest of the team can still look for some aggressive plays here. You see Devi and Mr. Jeans rotating their way top. They're going to try to put a little bit of pressure onto Yamsun, and while they don't hit up the Slark directly, they're going to push him out of his comfort zone here, not able to really farm in the places that he previously would have kind of assumed that he had at his disposal, as Devi is very far forward, but with the Carapace, he can maybe afford to play around here a little bit, as he is going to throw the stun onto Yamsun, and this really isn't going to turn into a fight. Devi knows he can't take it. Yamsun doesn't want to get involved there just in case someone else rotates in.
Yeah, and really, Black and Yellow have this Lycan. That is their strongest hero on the map. If they can keep on getting him on top of these towers, that's the best case scenario for them, as well as them keeping this cart alive bottom as long as they can. They might be able to get a cheeky glyph out from bottom lane, which allows them to finally collapse on that mid tower. The problem is just that Jeans has kept this mid wave completely static, not allowing anyone to get anything here. So even though Esk has been gone for quite a while now, he has just been getting the scraps from the jungle, and because he has been purely jungling, he has found something, but this just allows Jeans, whenever he wants to rotate out of the lanes and then look probably towards the Slark.
Esk has a lower net worth right now than Jubei on the techies. It's kind of gross. As Yamsun, well, getting hit up in the top lane here. There's going to be the Ravage. Devi is going to wait for the push in as well with the stun. That's chef's kiss. That is perfectly executed. And Yamsun, really just his first death, but that was just spectacular. Monster and Devi timing it perfectly. Mr. Jeans didn't even really need to get involved. He was there just in case, but they find the kill, and now they can take a tower of their own.
And really, he's just here to make sure that this tower comes out in a decent amount of time. They already committed the Ravage top, so I can't imagine they're going to make that play on the mid tower very soon. They probably want to buy their time a little bit, don't want to throw anything too early on in this game. But the big question mark for me is when all of these heroes get forced into their jungle, how are they going to really be able to recover? Right now, Esk is doing some ancient farming with Bat Rider, which you can still do. You do need to get 10 stacks, so it's not the fastest ancient farmer, but he has somehow been able to finish off those boots of travel. I can only imagine that him and Zero are going to need to start making plays. If they can make plays around the map, I can start believing him a little bit more. Those ancient stacks did help him quite a bit here, but if they whiff on those early plays, we're just going to see them fall behind again for the second game in a row.
And we'll see what they can do. Zero, I mean, he's queued up the Helm of the Overlord. He would very much kind of love to just pick that up and go straight for it without having to worry too much, but I don't think that that's really going to be a scenario that plays out. I don't think they can afford to buy that much time. He's got to try and make some sort of intermediate plays to try and keep this one even. I mean, right now it's less than a 1k advantage, but those cores on the side of D2 Hustlers are ramping up right now. So the gap between them and their counterparts, unless Black and Yellow find the kills, it is going to widen considerably as Yamsun. Yeah, time to clear out. 3-man rotation coming in onto him. Devi, though, he's going to be able to hit him up with the... Oh, no. Oh, actually, hold up. There it is. Mr. Jean says, no, you are not getting away. Drops a Sonic Wave. Yamsun goes down, but... Got to give him at least a little bit of credit. He was able to avoid getting taken down by the Vendetta hit into the stun. Bean's Grip wasn't enough to bring him down as he got off that Dark Pact. It's just... Queen of Pain really just comes in and has the final word there. But now mid, Monster, no Ravage for 10, very low in HP. Reinforcements are coming slowly, and they are moving into position. And now, if you're Black and Yellow, I don't know if you want to stick around for too much longer. That ult is going to be coming out. Monster deploys the Ravage! And can they actually kill him? Can they get him at all? No, they can't. They throw down, oh my goodness, they throw down the ult from Yuma. That Stone Gaze prevents Zero from going all the way in. He just wanted to charge onto the backline, but he's turned to stone, and Black and Yellow's shot at a teamfight win there just kind of goes up in smoke. That was so close. They just needed to either kill Monster faster or just back off. They don't do either, and the results are rough. 2 heroes dead, and now a tier 1 tower under siege.
And the only reason that play even happens is because of the HOD battle. Whoever has their HOD on cooldown is always going to get their creep stolen. But unfortunately, you steal the creep from the Lycan, you try to make that play onto Monster. It comes back on cooldown, so then he steals the Centaur back from the Lycan, and that's the big initial stun that then allows Zero to get the kill. And you even see Zero takes back his Centaur creep to meet up with his Wolves, but can they make this play onto Zero? This is a little bit crazy, but Jeans is already here.
Is in. No, well, no ult, but they don't need it. He's just going to get it done with the right clicks. Jubei, he was thinking about maybe going for the deny, but not going to be able to time that one out. The Techies doesn't exactly have the fastest attack time in the world. Jubei, though, will get a little bit of revenge. Hiromi gets taken down in the jungle there, so it is going to be a 1-for-1, but that's core for support, and it's Jubei kind of getting the money on the Techies. So not exactly the hero that you want finding those pickoffs, but it's better than nothing. At least give him that much. But now, Mr. Jeans and Divide, they've smoked up. They're looking mid. Esk is the one who is here. He has the Firefly going already, though, but Divide is going to be able to stun him up with that Carapace. Mr. Jeans blinks forward. There's going to be the roar, or not the roar, rather, excuse me, the scream down as Esk will fall. And Boris, at this point, he's going to be able to pad the stats a little bit in terms of the stun duration, but there's really not much damage. Oh, maybe there is. Yamsen's going to come in. Slark wants the fight, or maybe he doesn't. He is already backing off, but once that ult wears away, he is going to get momentarily stunned up. They wait till the Dark Pack's been used to deploy that Fiend's Grip, and Yamsen is just straight up dead. And now Boris, oh, Boris, that's a little greedy. Tried to get on the backline looking for Divide. Instead, he gets stunned up and taken down, and now Jubei has no choice but to deny himself with the blast off play. So 4 dead, only 3 of them technically count as kills, but really, that's not going to matter. It's 3 kills directly to the side of D2 Hustlers, and they are starting to pull away pretty early on in this one.
And look at this. Yuma is stacking his opponent's jungle so that way he can get even more farm, because it's not like they were getting the farm here anyway. And you just see all 3 cores on the Hustlers side feeling incredibly confident, incredibly tanky. It's just a terrible situation right now. All of the mine stacks are playing towards this top tower as well, so it's not like they can make really any play mid, and Devi's just scouting out. Of course, they see the Nyx Assassin, so it doesn't look like they will be able to get that punish, as well as scouting out this Orchid on the Queen of Pain, so they will be aware of that as well. But Esk needs to find the lasso, but I don't think he wants this Medusa. He wants to find the backline. The problem is the backline is so good at really stopping any play from him unless he has that BKB, but it's not like anyone on Black and Yellow is really finishing their items right now, aside from maybe the Lycan.
Yeah, that's Helm of the Overlord still being worked on. Progress is being made, but not quite at the rate that they might want, and his progress, personally, is going to be fantastic for Zero if he can build this up, but as you said, no one else is really finishing much of anything off. Yamsen's got an Echo Saber, so I mean, that's nice. I just don't know if it's really enough. You do see him working his way towards the Diffusal, BKB queued up. I just think a Shadow Blade is sort of after that. So he has those aspirations, he just doesn't have the farm right now to back it up, and really the Bat Rider's in a similar position. So Black and Yellow have to buy some time, but even with the Techies in their lineup, they're the squad sort of getting pushed back. Normally, that Techies can sort of stall things out a little bit more for you, but we have not necessarily seen that be the case, although Jubei is starting to sort of get a little bit further up there. He's closing in on that sort of first major item, so maybe he can set up a few more defensive sort of forward positions to try and keep those D2 Hustlers heroes at bay for as long as possible. But now Esk in some trouble up top. Divine Llama's going to try to catch up to him. And there's going to be the stun to start it off. Mr. Jeans and Yuma pushing their way forward. The Bat Rider does not have the Firefly for 10. His teammate is going to try to come in to help out as Boris is using the Rolling Thunder, but Yuma's going to throw down the ult. Stone Gaze comes in, so Black and Yellow have to be very much concerned with their positioning, but they've at least kept Esk safe, and now Devi's actually the one who has to fall back, but he's not going to make it out. Divine Llama will be taken down, and now can they get Yuma? Esk lassos in. They're going to have to get through that mana shield first. They're doing a decent job of it so far, but now Boris is in some trouble. He's going to get locked down by that Fiend's Grip, and, well, That's the point where the play kind of falls apart a little bit. The Slark will make it out of there. They do fall back with Jubei as well, but it's really just kind of a support trade there. Boris being taken down in exchange for the Nyx Assassin.
And it's not bad. You were able to get that Nyx Assassin, force a lot of TPs to the top lane. Unfortunately, it just feels like whenever Black and Yellow give up the space that they're able to get by having this Lycan bottom, they're always forced to TP elsewhere. And Zero, having this Helm of the Overlord will put a lot of pressure on these creeps. Unfortunately, Monster going for that hood, just doing normal Tide things, is going to delay up his Helm of the Overlord, so the steal game is not going to be there. That is always the best solution to deal with those Helm of the Overlord creeps. You just try to take the opponents, so that way you don't have to worry about the split push if you're the team that wants to actually get these objectives. And it is actually getting some work done. It's just hitting this mid tower here.
Looks like actually be enough to bring it down.
Yeah.
Okay, nice play. They're going to get the gold for finishing it off. 200 gold going their way, but Mr. Jeans gets 200 gold, whereas Black and Yellow get the gold across the team for the tower pickoff. So it's not
almost
maybe
even.
the usual way that you get that money for yourself, but Zero's at least making plays happen.
Now, the bigger problem is still just who is having a good game besides the Lycan. I almost hazard to say that the Techies is having the second best game on his team right now. We're still waiting for a lot of those big items. At least they're able to get out a lot of these waves. I think D2 Hustlers are being very cautious in their approach going forward. They don't want to give away any advantage because they know they give up one fight, suddenly a mind stack isn't where they expect, and then they're suddenly losing heroes twice after a fight. At the same time, they can't exactly kill Roche very easily either. That's where once we get the Crystalist finished up by Yuma, we might see them actually make the rotation towards the pit. But until then, we are going to play the slow and steady pace where Yuma has twice the Slark's net worth, and will that be enough for them to win this game? I think in most games of Dota, this is going to be enough, but it is a little bit boring to watch.
Yeah, not the most exciting stuff unless you are way into farming statistics, which we're not, but there's somebody out there, maybe Nahaz or something like that, oh my goodness. Mr. Jean's very nearly taken down, while Yamsun will be taken down in the middle lane, so that's going to break up the farm fest a little bit there. Yamsun just wasn't showing enough respect, I suppose, to the Bane. He just walks in for the Fiend's Grip, and now they actually locked down Zero with that Stone Gaze. This is getting very risky, and yeah, Boris is just going to get out. Zero uses the last of his shapeshift to make his escape as well, but you count the cost there, right? You lose your carry, you lose your mid laner, your shapeshift was just used to get Zero out of the fight rather than into it. You have nothing now. You have to sit here for the next 30 seconds to maybe a full minute before you're really able to do much of anything. So that play really just sort of backbreaking for Black and Yellow.
And that was the very small chance where Yamsun walked to the low ground. He saw, because he has night vision Slark, that there was nobody on the high ground, didn't expect Yudomi to catch him after he had already committed the Dark Pact, and Yudomi got him. It's a very small window, but it existed there for just a moment, and it's one that Yamsun wasn't really accounting for. And again, you see the Slark not really having a good time at all, and building towards the Sanj and Yasha, I don't think that is the item that's really going to save this game either. We're going to need to see at least another 2 or 3 items coming out from this Slark. Then maybe you're going to be able to walk into the full 5-man of D2 Hustlers, but right now, there is no way for him to kill supports, no way for him to stay on top of the Tide, and definitely no way for him to right-click this Medusa, who now almost has a full Scotty underneath her belt. Unfortunately, she's going to lose that top wave top, but they also have really good sentries right now. They're scouting out more or less everything, and yep, they see it all.
Unfortunate. Jubei's just got to pop him just so that they don't get picked off for the extra gold, so might as well get some use out of him. Meanwhile, down bot, what is this? Divide. Looking for Zero. They do have to sacrifice their tower in order to make this play, but they have the opportunity to get the kills. Boris was trying to roll in, but he's actually pushed back by that Scream, so cannot provide the backup that he needed to, as he will lose his teammate, and now he's just got to use the last few moments of that Rolling Thunder to get away himself. Meanwhile, back up top, they've caught Yamsun inside of that Fiend's Grip. Not able to finish it off, though, as the silence comes in from Jubei, but Yuma still fighting. They've finally gotten through the Mana Shield, though. Yuma may be taken down. That's a good Nightmare coming in, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Yuma will still fall. He gets Jubei with the right clicks before he dies, but that is the kill Black and Yellow needed. It just would have been nice to get it without having to sacrifice Zero and Jubei across the map. But they finally get through to the Medusa, Yuma's first death of the game.
Yeah, and that is massive for Yamsun. Yamsun's now going to be able to finish off his Sanjin Yasha more or less. And I think it was a little bit of a bad TP from Monster. I think he tried to join in on that fight bottom after the engagement had already ended, more or less. So if Monster is top, they don't kill the Medusa, plain and simple. But instead, he branches off from his allies a little bit too much, and that is a really big kill for both of the cores. They're both in there with the AoE XP. I think now you have BKB finished up on the Batrider. If you can find another one of those plays, especially on a Mr. Jeans, you can still catch this Quap. She is still very vulnerable. She just feels immortal if she's the one going on you. But if you can actually get on her, then we might see the game get blown open a little bit wider, as the gold lead honestly isn't that crazy. It's really just the gap between the carries right now that still exists, that is going to exist. But if they can slowly inch it back, this game is going to get much more interesting.
Yeah, and that is sort of the point for Mr. Jeans. There's not a lot in the way of defensive itemization, and he's still sitting at less than 2k health. So as you said, if Black and Yellow can be the ones initiating, there is some potential there. He is trying to address that, though. You see that Aeon Disc being sort of queued up for him, but not going to get here in time for this fight, as Esk is going to push his way forward, but Spike Carapace locks him down. Yamsun, though, still trying to go in. He's actually forced to pop the ult a little early, and now this fight's getting a little bit complicated. But Monster, right in the center of it all, holding the Ravage, waiting for his moment. He actually hasn't even needed it just yet, as Zero will be taken down. Now they'll deploy the Ravage, connecting onto 2. Yamsun, though, was able to jump onto the high ground before they could finish him off, but now they've got him with the Nightmare. They're going to lock him down. Mr. Jeans going in, and, well, he's not the tankiest hero if you're the one jumping onto him, but no one's jumping onto Mr. Jeans there. He is the one leading that charge. Ultra kill for the Quap, and a 4-for-1 trade that gets them right back into the Roche Pit with really no resistance remaining from Black and Yellow.
Yeah, and now immediately into the pit. You had the full Scotty. It's just really sad right now. Ultra kill for Mr. Jeans. He is the most vulnerable target. He is going for, I guess, this Aeon Disc, which is a little bit strange. I don't really like it all too much, but you even get to kill the Roche before you finish the Chrysalis. It's just not feeling like a good game for Black and Yellow right now. That was really one of your best shots there. That was the Orchid on Lycan. That was the big reveal, as Zero with the Black Dragon creep has been getting every single creep wave bottom, but it just feels like at the end of the day, it's not going to matter. Hey, you got Yudomi mid. It's just not enough, I think, at this point.
Jubei's able to pad the stats a little bit, but yeah, overall, it's not going to slow down this push. Yuma's still going at it. Mr. Jeans is in there as well. We do see a couple of heroes at least looking at a potential wraparound, but actually they are going to commit for it. Boris is rolling in. They start out onto the Queen of Pain, but where is the follow-up? Mr. Jeans is simply able to blink away, and this just isn't going to work out. Yuma already popping the Stone Gaze, charging forward. They've locked down Boris. He's going to try to get away with the Swashbuckle, but yeah, there's really nowhere for him to go. He's even trapped in by the Granite Golem, so at this point, if you're Black and Yellow, you just, oh my god, you've just got to be trying anything. As Monster very nearly dies there to the mines, but he is able to survive, and now it feels like Jubei's used up a lot of his sort of equity in this match. He's blown a lot of those mines. He doesn't have any sort of mother load set up, but his distraction opens up an opportunity to down bot. All 3 cores for Black and Yellow are in onto Mr. Jeans, but if that's what it's going to take, that's what you've got to do. They lock him down. They finish off Mr. Jeans. That is a godlike spree that they bring to an end, and you will kind of sacrifice Jubei and his mines for that pretty much every single time.
Yeah, and unfortunately, at the end of the day, as good a game as Mr. Jeans has been getting, as much as you need to prey upon him, he's not having nearly as bad a game as he needs to really swing this game in their favor. In addition to that, he's not the win objective. This Medusa is your objective, and with this Daedalus almost finished up on her as well, the line is being drawn by Yuma. I think really good job from Zero. I think he's trying to cut the waves as much as he can, but, well, they got Boris.
Just caught out in the river. Really no way out. Boris gets taken down. Low timer for his respawn. He has buyback as well. So really, between that play, serving as a distraction, and Zero trying to sort of cut the creep wave down bot, Black and yellow are doing a pretty decent job of just trying to draw this one out, but now you see Yodomi making his way over, drops down that Obs Ward, and now Zero is very much not safe. He's got to try and get away. If Yodomi spots him, he doesn't have the Fiend's Grip, but the Nightmare is there, but the Silence actually comes through first, and Mr. Jeans, well, doesn't really have any means of canceling that, so Zero is able to kind of get away with one. I believe he's going to be losing his creeps here, but I think you're okay with that. You bought time, you sort of cut the creep wave bot, you get the actual hero away before there's any massive consequences, and 200 gold for the Helm of the Overlord unit, but at this point that's really not going to matter too much considering how far behind they already are. So, trying to buy time, I suppose, that's the name of the game, but now Boris is going to get himself caught out in that middle lane. That one's a little less sort of strategically valuable than the previous death. That's just him getting kind of caught out, but well, again, death timer remains low. This time, though, D2 Hustlers are kind of grouping up like they want the push. They've got the creep wave. They've got Medusa still holding on to the Aegis for about 90 more seconds, so this could be their chance to push up. Jubei's been setting up, though. He's got the mines in position, so maybe if D2 Hustlers step that little bit too far forward, they could get caught. Yuma, he's almost trying to bait it here, and even if they do blow the mines here, that's only the Aegis that they'd be getting through. Meanwhile, on the back line, what is going on here? Zero trying to get himself in, but the shapeshift doesn't actually come out. The silence actually canceled it, so Zero will go down, dead for 40 seconds. No money for buyback, while Yamsun, he gets away, but now he is pretty clear on the other side of the map. He does have a TP scroll, so could rejoin his teammates if they really do need him, and I don't know, it kind of feels like they need him. Yuma's pushing the high ground, disarm comes through from the lucky shot, but once it wears off, he's right back in for that damage, and the tier 3 is not going to last very long.
Okay, here's the roll. I don't think it really...
Oh, no. That's just not fair. Oh. Alright, Yodomi, he's just too damn fast. Fastest gun in the West there as he's able to hit up his opponent with that Fiend's Grip that completely shuts down the Rolling Boulder play. Or Rolling Thunder, excuse me. But either way, Black and Yellow, not really sure what else they can do here. They can buy back on those two heroes, but they need the rest of their cores in position, including Yamsun, who is currently just pushing out the bottom lane. Now he'll TP his way up, but by the time he gets here, I mean, the tier 3 tower is gone in the top lane. Yuma is losing his Aegis, but realistically speaking, I think he still feels comfortable sitting on this front line, continuing to do this damage as they're looking for that top lane of Rax. They've cleared out mid already. Black and Yellow, who makes the move? Esk is going to pop the BKB, waiting for the Blink Dagger to come back up as they do jump in. They've actually caught the Nyx Assassin. That's a nice target for them. They need to be able to blow him up a little bit faster, and really, they just don't have the damage right now. They will eventually finish him off, but Devi stayed alive for so long, everyone else on D2 Hustlers just kind of walked away from that engagement.
Yeah, and they can't really afford to re-engage here. Boris is going to try, but
Silence.
Boris, you can't do that.
Into the Ravage. It's brutal. Boris will buy back, though, so he can try to rejoin his teammates. And now Monster, he's used the Ravage, so he does not have a whole lot left to work with teamfight-wise. Can they take advantage of that? They need to pick a target at this point and just go in onto him. They're sort of spreading things out a little bit too much. That buys Yuma time to just turn around and dish out this damage. He's going to take down Esk. Jubei's getting pushed back as well. Yamsun has to be careful as his ult is coming to an end, so he's going to try and retreat, but as he does, Zero's sort of left holding the bag. He will be taken down as Yodomi finds the kill, and now Jubei, an extended jump, but Mr. Jean says, I can do that too. Blinking forward, gets the kill. Jubei falls. Yamsun in some trouble as he's desperately trying to get back to the fountain, but Mr. Jeans blinks in front of him, and he will finish off the kill. So, Black and Yellow, yeah, that was really their last attempt. GG called, and D2 Hustlers, they get the sweep. They get 3 wins in 4 matches here on day 1 of the group stage, and we sort of came into today wondering what this new lineup was going to look like for them. So far, it looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's got some interesting new additions. I think they're definitely gelling with each other very well, and I think that they're also drafting pretty up to snuff. I think style-wise, they're definitely playing it to their team strengths already, which is something that a lot of newer teams definitely struggle to identify whenever they are trying to find that style. But really, just easy Dota. They farm for 30 minutes with a Medusa versus a carry that is on a timer, and I think Black and Yellow just are still lacking that base level of cohesion that I was just praising D2 Hustlers for a little bit. I think that in the draft, it's just a little bit too many ideas. They're not really concise in how they're accomplishing their goals, and they fall behind just off the get-go because of that. I know every single player in Black and Yellow is very good. They're very tried and true. but then they also have these silly draft mistakes, and then it feels like they're unable to play what should be a pretty good game of Dota. Like the quap bat thing should be just not even a factor. You shouldn't even think about that because that doesn't happen usually. No other team would let that happen. But here it's just on showcase that maybe Black and Yellow, they've got a few more issues that they got to solve internally. We'll see if they're able to improve as again, we're going to see a lot more of this team still.
But yeah, that one in particular, Bat Rider was Black and Yellow's first selection. D2 Hustlers went for the Queen of Pain, not with their first pick, but still in the first phase. So theoretically speaking, Black and Yellow had a lot of time to sort of bail out, pivot their draft somewhere else. Instead, maybe a little bit of stubbornness on their part. And we saw Esk did not have fun in the lane, subsequently didn't get to have much fun across the rest of the match either. 2, 5, and 4 as the final stat line. That's not going to get it done for your mid laner. So unfortunate for Black and Yellow, but one of the things you sort of mentioned earlier on in our matches today with these NA squads, they're so sort of adept at taking that loss, as unfortunate as it may be, and learning from it, making those sort of adjustments for their next appearance. So in Black and Yellow's case, there's quite a lot for them to try to improve upon here, but hopefully the next time we see them, they're going to be in maybe a more cohesive and a more confident position.
Yep, we can only hope. And Jubei Techies failed us today, but maybe tomorrow.
It's always fun, at least. That's for sure. The Jubei Techies always delivers on the entertainment front. But with that, we've been talking a whole heck of a lot about NA Dota today, but we are going to be shifting gears a little bit. One last series, and it is going to be an all South American affair. We have Hikori facing off against Furia Jovem. So two squads in South America that honestly have been on a bit of a tear in recent times. They're going to be going head-to-head in their respective first series of this event. So that one going to be coming your way relatively soon here. Not sure on an exact ETA, but I think we're trying to catch up just that little bit. So should be bringing Hikori versus Furia Jovem your way in maybe 5 to 10. So stick around, and we will be hopping into that final series of the day just as quickly as we can.